This is an emergency alert about the tragedy that strikes after the 5th hour. If you stay awake at night and hear dogs barking, then after exactly 5 hours of barking, you will face one or more of these 5 terrifying outcomes. Let us show you why this happens, who or what is behind it, and how to stay alive through this nightmare. The first case we know of began with Daniel H. He was 28, worked night shifts in Ohio, and had a dog that liked to stare out at the street. One week he stayed up late, scrolling forums and watching shocking clips, when his dog suddenly barked. Just once, sharp and clear, the kind of bark you ignore. Daniel filmed it and sent it to friends, making jokes. He stayed up. Exactly 5 hours later, the light behind his eyes felt wrong. A burning pain flared, and the world blurred to gray. He blinked, waiting for it to clear. By dawn, he was blind. Doctors scanned him, tested him, checked everything, but they found nothing wrong. Daniel didn't die. He woke to a house full of shapes he could no longer name, trapped in a world of sound and touch. The punishment was exact. His sight was taken forever. He learned every room by sound and counted steps to feel safe. Sometimes he reached for the spot where the dog used to sleep, but it stayed empty. The animal never came back. Daniel was left completely blind, and no one could ever explain why. His life was shattered, trapped forever in darkness, with no answers. Then came Layla M., a 32-year-old mother from outside Lexington. She stayed awake that night after the bark, laughing at a live stream that mocked neighbors and strangers. The next morning, her husband found her standing at the child's door with mud on her feet. She remembered nothing. A hallway camera later showed her walking through the house like she never had before, silent, focused, whispering names under her breath. Every night after that, she moved the same way, harmless but strange, like following a script in her sleep. She stayed alive, and they tried everything to stop it: alarms, locks, people to wake her. Investigators learned the terrible rule: the sleepwalking continues as long as it stays harmless. If the sleepwalker hurts, mocks, or humiliates someone while in that state, death strikes within 5 hours of the bark. Layla lived for weeks like that, trapped in a pattern, never knowing if a night awake would end in harm she wouldn't remember. Her family watches her constantly now, because survival doesn't mean safety, it's a fragile line. Layla survived, but she lives under constant watch, speaking in her sleep, walking without memory, always one step away from a fatal night. Next was Aaron P. He was 24 and wore a fitness tracker in Michigan. He heard the bark and stayed up. At exactly 5 a.m., his body stopped obeying him. At first it felt like normal sleep paralysis, but it grew worse. Pressure on his chest like one hand, then many. The room grew freezing, the corners too dark. He felt shapes leaning over him, felt himself being struck and dragged, but nothing left to bruise. In the morning he laughed it off as a nightmare and told his friends. The next night it happened again. 5 hours after the bark, he was frozen while his dog whined and paced. The recorder on his nightstand caught sounds he said were real, scraping, breathing that wasn't his. He survived, woke up, and kept telling himself it was just a dream. Others who went through it say the same thing. Nights full of terror, mornings full of excuses because the truth is too much to face. Aaron lived, but every night after a bark, he was trapped in paralysis, visited by something unseen. They scared him, held him down, beat him, every single night, until he dreaded sleep itself. Then there was Michael R. He was 45, loud about not believing any of this. He lived in Wisconsin and spent late nights playing games and mocking the warnings online. When the barking started on his street, he took it as a challenge and stayed up night after night. After the first 5-hour mark, he was jumpy and restless. After the second, his mind started slipping. By the third, he was reckless, driving late, picking fights, daring things that should have been harmless. For some people, the mark is slow. It wears you down. Michael's nights turned into months of dread until fear lived inside him. He grew thin, unfocused, and careless in the daytime because the night had stolen his sanity. After weeks under that pressure, he made a choice in the dark that killed him. An accident on a reckless drive. His file lists anxiety, insomnia, and bad decisions stacking up. This fate is slow torture, surviving every night but turning into someone who can't make safe choices until death finally comes. Michael didn't die from the bark itself, but it broke him, and that's what killed him in the end. Then there's the thing no one dares to name. Emily R., 19, was streaming when dogs started barking outside her street in Illinois. She laughed, teased her viewers, and made a game of staying awake to catch the hour live. Her stream stayed light and playful until exactly 5 hours after the bark. Then the screen turned to static, and the last frame showed her mouth twisted in a way witnesses say wasn't speech. The few who saw the saved seconds in private wouldn't talk about it. They just shook and cried. Police locked the footage and gave the family only cold, short reports. Officials refused to let anyone describe what happened. Doctors closed her case and marked it restricted. The rule is clear. If you make a joke out of the bark, the punishment is too awful to describe. Survivors refuse to speak of it. We won't describe it here either. Investigators say putting it into words only spreads it. Just know this. Mocking the bark leads to a fate too horrifying to share. Emily's end is a silent warning, a nightmare so deep that even words cannot bring it back. All 5 outcomes follow the same exact pattern. A dog barks at night. You hear it and stay awake, scrolling, gaming, filming, or laughing. 5 hours later, without fail, one of these things happens. The silent parade watches what you do. Mockery, cruelty, sleeplessness, filming it, or even just refusing to sleep until the fear ruins you. Dogs see them first. Vets say their eyes change, their muzzle tightens, and they make what owners call a half smile. Then comes one single bark. The same bark every time. That bark starts the clock. The parade doesn't break into your house. It doesn't need to. You mark yourself by staying awake. If you hear a bark tonight, do this and nothing else. Put your phone away right now. Close all apps and games. Lie down and try to sleep. If you can't sleep, lie perfectly still in the dark. Don't talk about what you heard. Don't go to the windows. Don't film. Don't taunt it. If 5 hours are almost up and you're still awake, cover your eyes and breathe slow until sleep takes you. The dark is what keeps people alive. These are not charms or magic tricks, just patterns found in reports and interviews. They lower the risk, but they don't promise survival. So if your dog barks tonight and you are awake, don't test this. Don't wait. Sleep now. Turn off every device before you are marked.